and looking forward to today's webinar. Thanks for joining us. Make sure that, well, you should, if you can, let's do this real quick. We did this before, but just if you can hear me and everything, just change your little smiley face to yellow or red. And there we go. I can see them changing. Okay, so we should be in good shape. Just a real quick note, I'm going to be kind of monitoring in the background and doing my best to answer questions. I'll type some answers, and so you can enter those during the webinar, and then later on we can bring those up for Scott to answer as well and maybe demonstrate some of the answers and so on. So that'll be going on throughout, and we're ready to go. So I think I'll turn it over to Scott and go into the background here and monitor the questions and answers. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Gary. Well, everyone, today I'm going to be showing Carlson Civil 2008 on the RoadNet Work program. I will. Here. Hang on one second. One thing I want to start off with is to go over Carlson a little bit for some of the new people that don't know anything about Carlson. It was established in 1983 by Bruce Carlson. We've been running on AutoCAD since 1989. We have over 70 employees. Corporate headquarters is in Maysville, Kentucky. We have our programming office in Boston. And we are totally focused on data collection with our Explorers and ServCE, survey, civil, mining, our takeoff estimating program, and our machine control. So pretty much when you have a project, you can go from start to finish with our software. Some of the things that Carlson Civil, Survey, Hydrology, and GIS, otherwise known as the Civil Suite, it works on top of AutoCAD, AutoCAD Map, Land Desktop, or Civil 3D from version 2000 to 2008. Right, that was very quick. Let's go ahead and take a look at RoadNet, get into the program that you guys came here to see. What I'm going to do at the beginning here is I'm going to start off with just a drawing. I have a coordinate file, but I need to import points in. So I'll just go to Points, Import Text ASCII File. I'm going to select my topo.ascii file, pick OK. It read in 797 points. Now I'm going to draw those points into the software, which I'll go to Points, Draw Locate Points, and I'll just say Draw. Now it's placing all those points into the drawing, and from there I'm going to make a surface. You can see all my points in the drawing. One thing I want to use before I make my surface is I want to use a command called Draw Shrink Wrap Entities. And what it's going to do is put a boundary going around all my points so I don't have any crossing information jumping across. So I'll just use Shrink Wrap Entities. I'll go across gaps. You can read down in the AutoCAD command prompt. My layer, I'm just going to put this on a layer called BNDY for boundary. I'm going to select my objects. Whoops, hang on here. I'm getting a lot of IMs here, guys, so sorry about this. I need to turn that off. Okay, I will window in all of my objects. My reduction level will be number 2. And I'll be doing a 3D polyline. You can also, tell you what, I'll do a 2D polyline, but you could also use 3D. I've got, let's see here. I just need to find this area and snap it to the end point here. Hang on one second here. Let me change this. Get rid of that. There we go. Sorry about this, guy. All right, we're okay now. Now I can get back into my surface here. Surface, triangulate, and contour. I'm going to make an existing surface in here, so I just need to give it a name, 10 binary file. I'll call it EG for existing ground. I have it set up to use inclusion-exclusion areas, Ignore zero elevation. Now, I have my contours turned off, I've got my labels turned off, and I've got my selection turned off. I will just go ahead and hit OK, and I'll select my perimeter line. There's no exclusions, and I'll go ahead and select all my points. Make a surface for me. So, there we go. So now if I go to View, Surface 3D Viewer, I can look at my surface here and see what I'm working with. All right, on top of this, I'm going to design some roadways. So I exit out of here. I know my surface is made, and I can also check to see if there's any bad spot elevations, but everything looks good. So inside of here, I'm just going to draw a polyline. Carlson likes working with polylines. So I'm just going to draw a polyline, something like this, into the software. I'm going to go ahead and freeze off my points. I'll keep my boundary up so I know where I'm at. Now, inside of here, we have center lines. You can input, edit center lines. We have profiles. We have sections. And we have roads. What I like to do is go straight over to roads to road network. And I'm going to start a brand new road network file, and I'll just give it a name and call it roads. It makes a .rdn file, which is a road network file. On the left side, you'll notice it has my docs for my road network over here. And one of the things I want to go to is in settings. That's where you should always start off at. Inside of settings, I'm going to tie to existing surface. I need to grab my existing surface, which is EG, which I just made. And you can put in your station interval like 25 feet, intersection 10 feet, existing section max offset. I have that set to 50. Process on update center line. So if the center line's updated, I want it to prompt me if I want it to update. You can also have it set on to auto so it automatically does it, or you can just have it turned off. The choice is yours on that. Now in the output options, I'm going to have it make a surface of my roadway while I design it. So I'm going to go ahead and pick on Setup. I'm going to go ahead and write out a triangulation file, and I'll just give this a simple name. I'll call it Roads. And it makes a .tin file, a TIN file. Now, we can also merge roads with existing. We can write out a SERB-CE stakeout. SERB-CE is our data collection software. We can write out our profiles, our center lines, our surfaces straight on out so that it can be brought up into the data collector for staking. We can also draw subgrade polylines. We can draw cross-section polylines inside of here. We can draw slope arrows. I've got it turned on to go ahead and do an output coordinates, and inside of that, when I pick on Setup, I've got it set up down here. If you look towards the bottom, stations to output, I want it to output all my low stations throughout my roadway so that I know where I need to set a catch basin at. Now you can also set it up for your high stations, your profile transition stations, super elevation stations, and template transitions. So there's all kinds of things you can set up with this. Oh, I need to select a coordinate file. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and do New, and we'll do Roads. It makes a new road one. You know what? I already had roads, didn't I? Let me do this. We'll call it Roads 2. Okay. Now, I also have elevate pads, which I'm going to show towards the end of this demonstration, how to elevate pads and elevate lots. I'm going to have those turned off for right now. We also have our output file defaults, which I've got everything checked on. For existing section file, a -EX, final section file, -FN, default existing profile. So my existing profile will have a name -EX on there. And I've got it set up for my intersections also. And you can change those out to whatever you need. All right, I'll go to report options. Right here, my report precision is 0.00. You can change that out to anything you want. I can report cut and fill end areas. You can put in a shrink factor. a cut swell factor in here. I'll leave both of mine at 1 to 1. Now my transition defaults, in here, when I do my center line intersections, my vertical curve length, I've got that set to 30. You can set that to anything that you want. You can also, I have PVI distance set for 15. Side intersections, I've got that set for 20 for my vertical curve length. My radiuses going around my intersections is set at 25. And I've told it here with the surface method to hold the main crown. Okay, when I make my surface, hold the main roadway. And I can also have it radial from curves. I'll allow single vertical curves in here. And in my cul-de-sacs, when I design that, which you'll see a little bit later on, is my vertical curve length, I've got that set to 20. So that any of this information you can modify out to whatever you want. Now I'm dealing with English units. Now you can deal with this in metric units also. So we do work in metric, if anybody is wondering there. Inside, let me show you where our metrics is set up. Under Settings, Drawing Setup, we have English units and we have metric. So there's your two places, if you are working with metric, that you can do that. All right, so I've got my settings set up in here. So now let's go ahead and go over to Add. Let's screen pick a polyline. And when I pick it, it tells me to assign centerline file to polyline. So I'll pick on it. And I'll give this a name. And this road name, I'm going to call it Roadway 1, RD1. It automatically makes a profile for me. Now this is something different than what you guys have seen before. Carlson automatically makes a profile for you that you can come back and modify. I've got my center line here, which let me go ahead and make a change here to my center line. In my edit box, if you notice, this is what it looks like on the screen. I can come in here and I can add line work. I can add curve, spiral only. I can add anything that I want to in here. What I want to do is a fit curve. So let me pick on fit curve. And my radius on this, I'm going to type in a 250. Then it gives me my degree of curvature, my arc length, my chord length, my tangent length, my external ordinate, and my mid-ordinate. Now if I change this out, let's say I change this out to 300, hit my tab key, then it gives me all new numbers going through here. And it tells me where my PC is located at, my PI, and my point of tangent. Also down at the bottom, we have horizontal speed tables. Set up for the AASHTO 4% max, MSE, and we have 6, 8, 10, and 12. Now if there's one in there that you don't see that you use, or if your city or county area where you do work at, they work off the AASHTO speed tables, but they kind of modify them. You can always come back in here and add your own design speed and make up your own tables if you want to. Okay? All right, I'll leave this like it is. It shows me what it looks like here. If I want to come in here, I can edit this curve if I want to edit it. I'm going to leave it like it is. We can move things up and down. We can reverse. That's a new thing in the software, is to reverse your line work. We can screen pick, which is another new command. I'm going to go ahead and pick Save and Exit. And in my profile, I'm going to go pick on Edit there. Oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and do my profile here. If you notice here in my profile, it shows you the existing ground, and then what Carlson does, it ties you back in to the existing ground on either side. What I'd like to do is insert a PVI here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Insert PVI, and I'll just go ahead and type in station, let's go 450, and I'll go elevation 265, and I'll put a vertical curve in of, let's say, 100 feet. And you can see that this has been done into the software right here. Now I can move this around. I can also graphically, if I pick here, and I come up here and I select that point, and wherever I stretch it, I can stretch it to anywhere I want, and it gives me the information up above it. I'll leave it right back there. And you can see now I'm at 424, which I'll go ahead and change that back to 450. And the elevation, I'll keep that like it is. So let me go ahead and save that. Exit. Now I need to put in a template. On my template, I'll pick on Template, pick on New, and for this, I'm going to give this a name of, you can give it any name that you want. I'm just going to call it Road. And here I need to design out my template, so I'll go to Edit. Now this is the box where you pretty much design out your roadway. Now one thing I want to show you in here is that the box here where my mouse is, it says right side same as left side. If I have that checked on, when you input your information in, it's going to draw both sides at the same time for you, instead of you having to do one side and then design out the other side. All right, we have grades, curb, medians, subgrade, super elevation, cut, fill, and right-of-ways in here. So let's go ahead and start over here on grades on the left side. We're going to go at a percent slope. We'll go at a -2. Horizontal distance will be 12 feet. And we're going to be going out to the edge of pavement, so I'll type in EP for the ID in here. You can also use ratio or vertical in here. Let me go ahead and pick OK. And you can see there's the crown of my road, and it goes out 12 feet on either side at a 2% slope. Now I'll go ahead and pick on curb work. In the curb, we have like 3 different types of curb that you can set up in here. I'm going to go ahead and use curb number 1. I've got it set for inches. In the top here, I've got it set for 5 inches for the top. The width is 12 inches. The taper is set at 1 inch right here, and the drop is set at 1 inch. The front height for number 1 is set for 6 inches, and the back height is set for 12 inches. The overall base on this is 18 inches. So if you wanted to change this out, and let's say your overall base is 24 inches, then you would just make your modifications down here. Now on the material here, I'm just going to type in CONC, and the ID on here, I'm going to say it's BC for back of curve. So let me go ahead and hit OK here, and you'll see it popped up on the screen. And like I said, if I had a median, I could enter that in there. I'm going to go straight over to subgrade, and I'm going to add in 2 subgrades here, okay, or 3 subgrades. My first one in here, I'm going to match the surface. I'm going to tell it to go straight up. We can also wrap around and tie the slope and continue at the same slope, but I want to do straight up. My horizontal offset from the center is 0. My vertical offset is a 0.25, and I'm going out 12 feet. And material on this is asphalt. Also, in here, you have your super elevation settings that you can set up the low side. And then you can also come in here and you can set up the high side. So you have your information that you can set up on either side. Go ahead and hit OK. And then let me go ahead and add in another subgrade. One, I'll go straight up again. We'll go an offset of 0.5, a distance out 12 feet. And then this will be called base inside of here. And you can also set up your information on here for super elevation. Let me go ahead and pick OK, and you can see that both of them have been added. And here in the drawing, and down its surface, they're underneath here. Now let me go ahead and add my last subgrade, where I will tell it to go ahead and go straight up, vertical offset of 1 foot. And this time I'm going to go over at a horizontal distance of 13.5, and this will be my subbase. So I'm going underneath the curb work here. So that's what it looks like. Now what I want to do is add in my cut and my fill. So inside of here, I'm going to tell it the smooth slope transitions. I'm going to use in a ratio, and I'm setting up the right side same as left side. So I'm just going to use a 3-to-1 slope. Now I could also down at the bottom where ditch grades, I can add in a ditch in this also. Let me go ahead and hit OK. And it shows you what it looks like. Now let me go ahead and do a fill. Pretty much the same thing. I'm going to enter in a 3, hit my tab for a 3-to-1 slope in here. And this time, if I checked on berm, I could add a berm in here if I need to. I've got this. It's just a basic, typical section here. I'll go ahead and hit Save. You can also draw this out into the screen, which I'll do here in a little bit. Let me go ahead and hit Exit here. So I've got my roadway centerline done. I've got my profile done, and I've got my template. Now, let me go back into Edit Profile to show you something. go down here to where it tells me show sections. And if you look here, it's got my sections right here on the screen. So when I move it in the profile, it shows me where I'm at in the plan view, but it also shows me what my sections look like. This is a very nice tool in here. Also what it tells me, if you look over here in the profile up above, it tells you your station, your elevation, what slope you're at, how much cut you have at that area, how much fill, your total cut volume for the entire site, and your total fill volume for the entire site. So it gives you a quantity right here while you're going through this. This is a very nice tool because what's great about it is I can come in here and I can make any adjustments that I want to going through this. And I can see what the cross-sections look like updated automatically. Okay. Close that out. Save it. Exit. Now, I've got those three things set up. We also have super elevation that you can get set up. We also have template transition. If you're transitioning, let's say, from an entryway to a subdivision that has a median in it to just your regular roadway, you can use two different templates and you can template transition in between them. We also have template point for profile and template point for center line, where you can take a template point from your, let's say it's a ditch and you want it to follow a profile which goes up and down vertically, and you want it to follow a center line, which is going in and out from the road. Okay? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK here. And then I'll go ahead and tell it to process. And you'll see that it draws my roadway out, projects my slopes down to existing ground. Point right there. There's my contours. Going through that. So that's one roadway right there being placed in there. And all I did, these are all AutoCAD objects, no special objects at all. And now what I want to do is I want to have a roadway coming off of here. So what I'm going to do is come in here. I'm going to do a polyline. And I'm going to do snap to nearest. And let's just do it, let's say, right there. And I'll draw a line coming out something like this. I'm going to have a cul-de-sac at the end of this line here. So let me go back under Add. I'm going to screen pick my polyline. I'm going to assign it a name, centerline file name. I'll call this RD2. Make the .cl file. When I hit save, it automatically makes my profile and keeps it the same name as what my centerline file is, RD2. And I'll use the same template file here. Now I can, like I said, make any modifications in the profile, but one thing I want to show you is what we do, which is a lot different than other software, is we automatically tie you back in to the existing roadway. I did not have to go to roadway number 1, find what station roadway 2 came in at, write down what the elevation is at that point, then come into my profile and tell it to start at that elevation, 268.82. Carlson, we've designed the software smart enough that if there's another roadway that it touches, it will automatically tie back into that. Now the yellow line that you see there is my edge of pavement for my roadway 1. Then it starts my vertical curve coming down, and then it ties right back into existing ground. Now what I want to do here is I want to keep that at the same distance as that, but I want to raise this up. I'm going to raise this up to 269, hit my tab key, and you'll see the change here. Because I want some slope coming off of here so you can see how the cul-de-sac looks in the contours. So let me go ahead and hit save here. And I'll exit. I'm using the same template I used before. And now, if you notice, we have an intersection. Primary is RD1, secondary is the start of road 2. So when I hit process, it's going to automatically design out my intersection. Let me go ahead and do that. You can see what this looks like. Look at that. Got my contours coming around. Now let's go look at that intersection. Now inside of here, I've got it set up. My primary road is RD1. I have a secondary road of RD2. I have my front right, and I've got my radius set at 25. I can change that out if I want to. Also my back right, I've got that set at 25. Let's go over here to the front right and let's edit the profile. This is something that's very nice also in the software. Carlson automatically makes a profile going around your intersection for you. So that if you want to set a low point, you can set a low point anywhere around this intersection. Okay? So we've got tools in there for designing intersection out and changing things up. Okay here. Now let's go ahead and add in a cul-de-sac down at the bottom. So if I go to Add, grab roadway number 1 and pick OK. At the end of this, I'm going to pick at the end of roadway number 1. My cul-de-sac is 46 feet with a fillet radius of 25. I can also do an offset. I can do a full left or full right. I can do a teardrop mode and set up a setback in here. So I can do different types of cul-de-sacs and design them out. I'll do it one way, come back in here and maybe do a full left or full right so you can see how you can modify it very easily. So let me go ahead and hit OK and add it to the list. And then all I need to do is hit Process, and you'll see the intersection designed out down here. The cul-de-sac and the intersection. What happened there? Oh, I'm sorry. I picked on the wrong roadway and had it designed out over here. That's fine. You can always remove it. That was my error. Let me pick Edit, Road 2, the end of it. Pick on 46, 25 for the radius. And watch how easy it is to modify if you do make a mistake like I did. So you can see how it did away with the cul-de-sac there. We added it right down here. And I've got my contours going around here. Also, it added to the list so I can go to Edit, make any changes that I want to make in here. I can also go to Edit Profile. Profile going all the way around your cul-de-sac. So if you want to set a low point somewhere, you can going around your cul-de-sac. Let's say I set one right here. That's around station, let's say 80. So I'll come in here, say Insert PVI at station 80, and my elevation is going to be 265. And you can put a vertical curve in here if you want to. I'll put one in here of 20. And I've got the vertical exaggeration set to fit. You can also change that out. That's a 1-to-1 scale. That's a 2 scale. And that's a 10 scale. Okay, so I have a very low point set right here. So let me save this. And let's see what the changes look like. All we need to do is hit Process. And you're going to see the contours change right in here. Automatically updated. And now my contours are sloping right over to this low point I set. That could be for a catch basin, so you can have water going out to a pond or to a drainage ditch. It's very easy to modify things inside of this. Let me go ahead now change up because the owner's decided that he changed his lots up, and we need to do a full left right here. So I pick on full left. It tells me it's a negative 34. I pick OK, hit Process, and now you can see how easy that it changes it up and designs it for you. It still has the low point set right here. I would need to go back in and get rid of that low point for that to go away. But you can see how easy it is to manipulate your intersections, your cul-de-sacs, change them out. Good example on this right here is, let's say, roadway number 1. You can see right now that the front right is set at 25 feet. Let's set it at 50. Pick OK. Hit Process, and you're going to see the curve change on here. So this curve is changed to 50. That one, it keeps it at 25. So it's easy to modify intersections and design those out, and also designing out cul-de-sacs. Now, one of the things that most people have trouble with, and I'm going to give you an example here, I'm going to do a roundabout. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use polylines, and I'm going to use the circle in AutoCAD, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can do a roundabout design inside of Carlson roads here. Let me go in here to Nearest. And I'll just pick right there, window out. I have a line going across, something like that. Then what I'll do is I'll do a circle. And I'll pick a point. Let me just snap the nearest here. And let's do a circle, something like that. There we go. And guys, if you notice, like I said, I'm just using AutoCAD commands here. I'll go ahead and break the circle, and then I'll go ahead and trim it. So I have my line work trimmed out. So I had one polyline, I put a circle on, and then I trimmed out my line work. Now what I want to do is go straight over here to Edit, and I want to go to Polyline Utilities, Entities to Polyline. So what I want to do is take my circle, and I want to convert that into a polyline, which I just did. It says converted one entity to polyline. So now I need to add these three roadways into my road network. So I'll go over to Add. I'll screen pick my first polyline up here, assign a centerline file to that, which that'll be RD3. It automatically makes my profile, and I'll use the same template. If you notice also, it just found roadway 1 and the start of roadway 3 right here. Now let me go ahead and add in my roundabout, which I'll come in here and pick on my roundabout. So let's assign a name. I'll call this RD4. It automatically makes a profile for me, and I'll use the same template. If you notice, it now has added road 4 at the end of road 3 for my intersection. I'll do my last roadway, pick on it, assign it a name. It'll be called RD5. It automatically makes my profile again. I'll use the same template that I've been using. And now it's made another intersection between road 4 and road 5. Now what also, while I'm doing this, instead of hitting process and have this all designed out, I can come down here to Add, pick on road 5, tell it to start at the end of it, and let's go ahead and just do a bulb in here for my cul-de-sac. And I'll go ahead and it adds it to the list. Now I'll hit Process, and you'll see that it designs my intersection. It designs my intersection from road 3 to my roundabout to road 4, and it designs out my cul-de-sac. We'll start up here at the top. Oh, I still have that set at 50, so I did 50 here and I got 25 here. I can always come back and make a modification on that. Now if I scroll down, here's my intersection. Going in here. I've got this as a wider turn, 50 and 25. Coming in here also. Now let's do this. If you can see my contours here, they're pretty much going right beside it. Let's make a change in roadway number 4 in the profile. So I go over here to Profile. I go to Edit. And let's say, what station should I be at? Let's go to station 300. So let's just type in 300, or let's go Insert, station 300. Elevation will be 265. Vertical curve, I'll put 30 feet in. And you can see the modification that it's made. So right there in the plan view, where the little diamond shape is at, that's what you'll see it. So let me go ahead and hit Save, hit Exit. Okay, and let's hit Process, and you'll see the contours change. And it's figuring everything out. You can see now I've got a low point right here, and I have my contours. Everything is grading to this point going around this cul-de-sac. Not cul-de-sac, I mean my roundabout. So like I said, it's very easy to make changes on things. And what else is really nice is, let's use this example over here. If I come over here and I just use I've got some bonus tools here. I'm going to freeze off some of this line work. Get this done, and let me get this one done here. Oh, no, not that one. Okay, I'm just going to use my AutoCAD grips. If you notice here, there's my center line. I'll use my AutoCAD grips. I'll take it, I'll stretch it over. When I do that, it tells me centerline rd.cl changed, run process road network. I'll say yes. It'll redesign out my intersection for me. It pretty much redesigns the whole road. My new contours going in here. So it's very easy to modify this stuff. Like I said, I'll take it and stretch it over to here again, pick yes. And I'm just using AutoCAD grips. I'm not having to use a special command or anything to do this. All right. Now, let me go ahead and hit save. Let me go into my settings here, my output settings. Let's see here. I was looking at something. All right, let me do this. Let me go ahead and save this. I'll save that. Let me go into my layers real quick because I think I've got my points turned off. Or I set up my points to be the same as my other points. Let me see something here. I'm not sure what I've got going there. Okay. But guys, that's pretty much road design inside of Carlson. Now there's all kinds of high-end things that you can do with template transitions and template profiles and template centerline. And that may be something that you may want to see in maybe a later demo, or you may want to actually, if you do own the software, you may need to get some training on that. But it is very simple to use on how that works. One of the other things I want to show real quick is I want to go into my 3D views, and I'm going to do a 3D flyover. I'll go ahead and select my existing road, and then I'll go ahead and tell it to start right there, and I'll go ahead and select my design road. The reason why I want to select both of these is that I want to show you that when I start, and then you can pick your different vehicles in here. You can pick a sedan car. You can pick a dozer. You can do your front left view, what it looks like. And I'll go ahead and you can set your speed up. I've got mine set for about, let's do 12 miles an hour. I'll hit run. And I can just use my mouse and I can drive through this. At it. Now, while I'm driving through here, if you look up at the top right corner, it says elevation. I'm in fill, and it gives me the depth of fill that I'm in. It also gives me my slope. It gives me my rollover here. And so that's why I picked both of my surfaces, is so that I can see whether I'm in fill or cut, that information. We can also in the software show you, which I'll do here in a few minutes, is that you can also have it colored in with blue and red, showing your cut and fills with your triangles. But this right here, what's nice about this is you can stop it, you can exaggerate it, you can rotate it up and start looking at your intersection design, making sure that looks good, make sure it's tying in really nice, and you can just drive through your site. And then you control where it goes on your site. Now, as far as, I think last week we had some questions, can you record this? We don't have recording software for this, but you could buy something called Camtasia and have it record it. That's pretty much what we use in this. Let me go ahead and speed this up a little bit more, because I want to go over to the roundabout so you can see that. This is a nice way as a designer, after he designs it, to see what it looks like when he drives down the road. Another way to be able to show the actual developer or the city or the county for presentations, to see what the roadway would look like after it's finished. Now, like I said, I've got it exaggerated. I'll go back to exaggeration of 1, and I'll go ahead and pick run again. And I'm coming up to my intersection here, and you can see how this looks going around. This looks very nice, this roundabout does. I'll go ahead and pick run. Drive over here. It's still going around. So this is one way to be able to show what it looks like. Let me go ahead and exit out of this. Now, some of you that were in yesterday's class on this, whereas you wanted to see, well, I'll tell you what, before I move on, let me do this. Gary, you still there?
Yep. Hello.
Okay, Gary?
Yeah, hi.
Hey, is there any questions we need on this before I get into, I was going to show them a little bit about grading the lots by using Road Network stuff.
Right. Go through here quickly. Let's see. The last one that came in is, can you add your own 3D images for the drive simulation? So I'm not...
Say, right now you can't do that at this time. Now, if you did have 3D objects that you could place in here, then that's something, let me see, even with
right,
objects,
you could put those in there and then include those in the simulation. Correct.
you need like some 3D trees and people and that type stuff.
Right. So images, I'm not sure. Next question just came in. It says they have Civil 3D. Do I need Basic CAD or will it run on Civil 3D? And of course, the answer is absolutely. We're running on AutoCAD, Map, Land Desktop, or Civil 3D. If you are running on Civil 3D and you install Carlson, just be aware that it uses the AutoCAD engine and Map is available, but we're not creating Civil 3D custom objects. So we're running on Civil 3D, but we're not creating objects that are native to Civil 3D. However, everything we create can be ported over there through the use of Land XML. Same thing with Land Desktop. If you have Land Desktop, you can plug Carlson into Land Desktop. It'll use the AutoCAD, but it will not be writing to the Land Desktop project data set. But again, anything we create can be moved over there with Land XML.
Yeah. And also, Gary, I've actually done some testing on this.
Yep.
Where I've taken exactly what you see here, Land XML out my centerline file, my surface, my profile, and we were able to bring it directly into Civil 3D.
Excellent. Yeah, I've done some experimentation as well. It really is simple to do and seems to be quite seamless. Seems to work quite well. Okay, questions are coming in, Scott. I'm going to keep going if that's okay.
Yep.
Let's see. Carlson 2007-2008 compatible with Windows Vista. I believe that AutoCAD 2008 is compatible with Vista, and I believe that we will be also for that reason, because AutoCAD is. I think that's correct. 2007
is not, but 2008 will be.
Right. Now, supposedly AutoCAD is working on a patch for their 2007 to run on Vista. I don't know if that's available. If that happens and AutoCAD runs, if they do the patch for Vista, then our 2008 would probably be able to then bolt on, so to speak, to that. But at the moment, Vista is pretty much an AutoCAD 2008 only, I think is correct.
Carlson Civil 2008.
Correct. Okay. When will Carlson 2008 be released? We're actually in the final buttoning things up this week. We're hoping next week. This should be out ready to be sent out. Is my latest information.
The one thing about this is the software. If you noticed, it's very stable, and that's one thing that we try to pride ourselves on. So.
Okay. Absolutely. We've been through quite a few betas with this, but it really seems to be running quite well. So we're expecting very soon. Someone was asking, can we go over centerline profile? What I would say that is why don't you email myself or Scott? And I think, Scott, you're going to put those up at the end, but just email one of us, and then we can get in touch with you for a specific, the easiest way to pick an offset, a curb, a disk that comes from an engineer. I think that would be better to just follow up if that makes sense. So please just get in touch with us, whoever. I've got your name here somewhere, but I'm not seeing it.
Gary, one thing I want to show people real quick.
Certainly.
My computer.
Yes.
A laptop that's about 4 years old. It's a 1400 megahertz with 1 gig of RAM in it, so it's not a real powerful machine.
Absolutely. And I also just make sure to mention that on carlsonsw.com, the schedule of webinars will be there. We have one next week, and with Bruce, the owner of Carlson, we'll be actually demonstrating hydro, and we'll be adding more shortly. So keep your eye on that. We've got a couple others. One thing I thought, there's a number of them talking about some transitions and bulbs and widenings and so on. So what I thought, Scott, just to if I take about 2 minutes and show something on my screen, does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds okay.
Okay. So everybody, bear with me for 1 second here. And I'm going to change the presenter to me.
Do I need to do that, or you?
No, I think I've got that. And you should be seeing my screen. If the screen changed, change your smiley face to red, somebody.
No, I don't see your screen. Okay, now I see it.
You got it? Okay, so there we go. Okay. So I just wanted to show very quickly, this is a very simple example, but basically what I did was I drew in, and let me just show you. I'll say draw a centerline file, and I made one called right turnout, okay? So what you'll see right here is I basically put in a widening, and all I did was draw a polyline and make it a centerline file, okay? So this roadway doesn't know about it yet, so let me just show, if I come in and edit Oak Street is this main road. This is called the template point centerline. This question came up a few times, Scott, so I thought I'd just show very quickly.
No problem.
It's very simple to, and again, you don't even have to start at the beginning and trace the edge of pavement. All you got to do is where it changes, okay? So we come in here, we have a template point centerline. We're going to make a new one. It's a TPC file. I'll just call this new to do it quickly. And then in the edit box, it's so easy to do. You say set so that it reads your template, so it knows the components in your template. And then you add a template point centerline. So it's basically saying a point on the template you want to have follow a different centerline. The point on the template, the list shows you which ones are available. So there it is. And then it says tell me the centerline file, which is called right turnout. And what side of the road is it on? It's on the right side. So there may be a slight delay. I'll go ahead and let this sit there. Did that all come through okay? Is there a delay?
There's a little bit of a delay here.
Okay. Let me know when that template point center line.
Oh yeah, it has. Okay, that's set up.
Got that? Okay. So I hope everybody. So basically, you say I have a template point center line. I want this component of this point on the template to follow this centerline file on the right side, and that's stored within this file, which is called a TPC file. So, oops, I just lost it. Hold on 1 second. There it is, and there it is. Okay. So I say save, and now when I process the road, you'll see that on the right side, the road now, again, widens out. So it's a very simple example of it, but it's that simple to basically do, bulbs. Someone said, instead of a roundabout, can we do a bulb where the road continues through but the edges of paved widen out, or turnarounds or parking areas or anything. That came up quite a bit, and I just thought I'd show that. So I'm going to switch you back, Scott, to be the presenter.
Okay.
We've got a few minutes left, and I hope that was helpful. And let me go back to my question queue here. And that should be switched back to you now, Scott.
Okay. Everyone should be able to see my screen. Can you see it?
Yep, I can. And someone's asking for the email addresses, so if you put those up at the end. And can intersections have different return radiuses for each intersection? Absolutely. Each intersection is controlled, and each curb return is controlled independently. Can you output left and right top of curve profiles? Scott, I didn't know about that. Can we do that? I'm not sure.
Hang on 1 second here.
Sure.
Left and right. Well, if you set it up as a centerline file, which I could come back through. Sorry about that.
Write it out? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I could set these up as centerline files, and then I could, or these are already 3D objects. If I move my mouse over them, it gives you an elevation on them.
Right.
So if I want to profile these, I can just go to Profile and go ahead and tell it, let me see, where's that at here?
Profile from a 3D polyline.
Yeah, Profile from a 3D polyline. Do you see it in here? There it is, right there. Profile from a 3D polyline. I can go ahead, it tells me layer name for 3D polyline. I'll leave it whatever the default is. I'll go ahead and select the file. Let me go ahead and select this one here. And stationed by another reference center line, I'll say no. Enter the stationing, I'll just leave it at 0. And then it's asked me to make a name of this, which I'll just say BC for back of curve. And you can say back of curve right, BCR. And then please specify an existing file. Hang on here, what's going on? Oh, it's looking for the existing here to open first. Let me look here. That's going to be this one here. Race center line, no. Okay, that should have done it. Let's see, draw profile. Yeah, draw a profile. It should be coming up inside of here.
I think I'm just, and I don't mean to interrupt, I think for time purposes possibly, I think it's there.
Yeah.
I just might be missing one step there, but it definitely is doable.
Yeah. Let me do this real quick. Let me save here, exit. And one thing that people from yesterday that were on for the RoadNet stuff, they wanted to be able to see how you can grade out your pads and your lots. So one thing that I wanted to show, kind of just show a little bit today, you can see my different roadways. I have 3 roadways going through here. I've got a cul-de-sac at the end, and I've got my 3 intersections here. One of the things about the software that you can do is inside of here, you can tell it elevate lots. And inside of elevate lots, you can set up your grading rules. You've got to tell it your reference template ID. I just got it set up for edge of pavement. I've also got it set up for input 2D lot layer. That's my lot layer on 2D. Output a 3D lot layer. And my front to reference max offset is 10. My back to reference max offset is 500. So I'll just hit OK here. Now my elevate pads. If I come in here to set up, I've got that to reference the edge of pavement. The layer that my pads are on is on the pad layer. And then I can set up all types of things as far as percent slopes. I can also do a ratio vertical. So I've got a 2% normal with a cut minimum of 1% with a cut max slope of 10%. And I've got that set up in the field to be the same thing. Now when I hit OK, I'll hit OK here. And let me go ahead and tell it to process. And when I process this, it's going to elevate my pads and my lots, my lot lines. So now, if I come over here to view, and I just grab my 3D surfaces, objects, I guess, here. Let me go ahead and just type in all. There we go. All right. You can see now how my roadways in 3D, my pads are, and also my lot lines are in 3D. And they're in 3D because of the slopes, the grading rules that I put into the software. And also you can see where the low point is on your project because of the color. and you can see where the high point is because of the color. Now I can exaggerate this, let's say 3 times, so you maybe can see this a little better. But this is a great tool to be able to see what's going on with your design.
Absolutely. Take a first shot at this. You go right from RoadNet and lay out your lots with your center lines. You go over to RoadNet. You elevate your center lines with profiles and templates. Then you elevate your lots and pads, and we can very quickly get a very, very good sense of what this is going to look like, and of course do a volume calc. And then with SiteNet, you can adjust that, and we'll definitely do a follow-up, Scott, to go in depth on that. And again, I apologize, but for time purposes, because we're just about out of time, a lot of great questions are showing up here at the end, and we just can't get to each of these specific ones. But what I'd like to do is, Scott, make sure to put up the email addresses, and what we can do is follow up. There's folks from all over, so just contact Carlson directly, contact Scott or myself, and we can certainly follow up and try and address some of these specific questions. We just really can't get into some of these today, but just a lot of great feedback and a lot of great questions, and we appreciate it. We do want to address them. We just can't really do them today.
Also, if you look here on the screen, I've got the information where you can contact Carlson or a local reseller. Also, I have our website up there and also our reseller website. I've got my email address, Scott Griffin, down at the bottom, and I've got Gary Rosen also down at the bottom. So if you guys want to write those down and email us some of your questions, please do that, or you can call the 1-800 number and ask for Scott or ask for Gary, and we'd be able to walk you through some of the steps.
Right, I'm in the Northeast and Scott's in the Southeast, and we have folks in the other parts of the country as well that you can contact as well, and we can get you in touch with them. So just stay in touch any way you can. We'll try and answer as many more specific questions, and even whatever it takes to answer whatever questions you have. We just can't quite get into all the detailed ones today, but we will follow up next week. Scott, you want to talk about Bruce's seminar?
Yeah, Bruce Carlson is going to be doing hydro next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. I would highly recommend for everybody to watch that. He's going to be able to show you how to set your catch basins, take it out, show you the profiles that's made, show you how you can do your drainage areas, show your low points on your site. There's a lot of stuff in there as far as watersheds, pure hydrology, as far as setting up your, your rain of concentration on that side. So there's all different things that he'll be showing next Wednesday. Absolutely, and again, we do have regional representatives all over the country, and again, if you're to get in touch with those, probably go to the website, and there's a list of them there. You can call that phone number. Just stay after us till you reach the right person. I appreciate all your time, and there'll be an ongoing schedule which will be growing as we go. That's it for me, Scott. Great job, and another good session, and we'll just keep them going.